You guys being college students, what do you think that we could have done better as high school professionals to prepare you for life after high school?
Okay. Well, I know for me personally, since I've always gone to like a private Catholic school, I got like a really great education. I was really lucky for that. But also, I never got like the diversity aspect. Like, I went to an all-girls school, middle school through high school, and like it was a mainly white school. So I definitely never got to like experience different cultures or anything as much. And like also being like part of the LGBTQ plus community, like we never really had like support for that on campus. So it, like especially since it was a Catholic school, so just kind of like more diversity within schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only like diversity, but like really like showcasing and like broadcasting like diversity and what it looks like in each sector of the school. Like diversity shouldn't just be one thing that you mention and you think of one specific sector of the school. You know what I'm saying? Or like one specific program. It should be, imbued between each sector and each district. Like you should see diversity across the board.
Yeah, and it's also not even just like bringing in different kinds of students. It's providing the support that like allows them to succeed.
Right.
So, how would you define that support?
I mean, definitely having different programs for students, like for like low income students who have to work extra study hours, maybe less homework, working with teachers, just anything you can do to help students who have different situations work to be able to actually learn.
So, you're speaking of academic support.
Yes.
Okay.
And also personal support though, because a lot of students go through mental health issues and they need to talk to people and figure a lot of things out.
Okay.
I think from my high school experience, a couple big things that I feel like we're lacking were like mental health support. People would talk about it, but nobody really, like everybody was depressed was kind of the gist, and nobody, like it was just an accepted state for people. And then I think also like financial teaching was lacking unless you took like one of the two classes in that section of education. You didn't really get a whole lot of knowledge about that kind of thing. There was something else along the lines of like the support for students with like education and cutting back on homework. I feel like for me, a lot of teachers, I was in a lot of advanced AP kind of stuff through high school, and they think that you're in those difficult classes, so you should be able to handle all of the workload, but I feel like there's a whole lot of overestimation on like how much is too much, especially when you get into working and other after school commitments. Like I know a lot of especially like my Latino friends, they had to work and then help out with their family because those expectations are completely different than like my experience with my family expectations. So just like understanding that.
Do you think all the homework was beneficial?
No, not
Some of it, I mean, like
was.
homework is good, but to an point, yeah.
to an extent. But
Like students
not,
shouldn't come home and be doing 6 hours of homework.
So,
Right.
And the thing is, like, we do that now, 6 hours of homework, and it's expected, okay? But the whole, like, idea of, like, school K through 12 is to really teach you the foundation and those principles, like, what time management is and what discipline is. And that's what homework really helps at. But when you get to high school, after doing it for so long, those foundations have already been built, and you can start to place the focus on projecting your life outside of high school, because that's really what's going to start taking place, as opposed to doing things that are just building on that foundation. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you do too much of something, it's harmful, And I feel like that's the same way in high school, how when you just get random worksheets and random essays that have nothing to do with what you're going to be doing outside of this high school experience, which is the real world, that's where it's helpful, and that's where you set a lot of your students up for failure.
So, what can we do to change that? Like, far as homework goes, what type of activities can we assign or have you do that would be beneficial? Not necessarily writing papers or things, but
Right. And I think, so the biggest thing for me is that, especially for low-income students, is that we just need exposure. You know what I'm saying? And we need to really understand, and what I mean by exposure is like we need to understand what this life has to offer and what opportunities are really at our hands. Because being in a situation like that, you know, it can be hard to see, oh, I don't have to just go to college, I can do this as well. You know what I'm saying? So instead of like just giving somebody a random essay about, I don't know, World War II, maybe have them go out and like, you know, look at, oh hey, what's a financial advisor, or oh hey, like what's a plumber, what's an electrician, or what's an entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? And have that essay that you were originally gonna have about something like irrelevant be something about they're really passionate about. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I think, like, kind of going along with what he's saying, I went to, like, the largest high school in Ohio. There were, like, 4,000 kids at my school. So I think kind of, like, along with that, like, I personally felt like I just kind of breezed through high school. Like, I went to school, came home, did a ton of homework, and didn't have time to, like, immerse myself in those experiences, like he was saying. And I think, like, a lot of students, like, at my school, it was, like, you know, the expectation was college. Like, there was, like, a bad, like, stigma around, like, you have to go to college, you know what I mean? And I feel like since the school was so, like, just large in number, a lot of students, like, who that wasn't the right path for them, like, just kind of got overlooked, and they didn't have the resources, like, they needed to, like, encourage them to pursue, like, something, even if it's not college. And they just kind of, like, there wasn't a lot of, like, one-on-one, like, support for, like, individual students, which, like, I get is hard, but then sometimes that sets, like, students who can't afford college or just, like, don't think that's the right path for them up for failure because they aren't getting, like, the support they need, and they're just, like, a number is what I always say, like, you know.
Yeah, and like kind of on the reverse side of that, like my school had maximum 400 people. Like my class was less than 70 people, so like we did get that individual support, and like they cared about every single student that was there, which was awesome. But again, like you were kind of forced to go to college.
Right.
Like the only thing they would really support is like a gap year, and they were like, yeah, do that, but go to college right after that. Like there's no real world training.
right.
Then, like, going off of that, on the opposite end of the spectrum, like, coming from, like, in general, it's, like, the complete opposite. Like, we not expected to go to college, and, like, you really gotta be, like, one of them students who, like, everybody kind of already knows, like, one of the smart kids or something like that, and, like, that's gonna be, like, who the school, like, chooses to have, like, to put in, like, an AP class or, like, a college credit plus class or something like that. But, like, everybody else is literally just everybody else. Like, they just looked at it like, all right, we kind of know y'all not, like, really about to go nowhere, so it's just, they're at school just to go to school, and they don't really get no support. And, like, as far as in, like, the work and stuff like that, like, the homework, it was different. It wasn't like we got, like, 6 hours of homework, so we didn't get to, like, explore. Like, no, the homework that we got was, like, 8th grade worksheets, the stuff that we've been learning. It was the same stuff over and over and over. We get, like, 2 sheets of that. So it's like, either what we did, you cheated, or you did it and you knew that you was not gaining nothing from it, and then, like, you gonna link up. You gonna do what you want at the school, but, like, linking up, like, being in the inner city, it's not like you don't always get into, like, the best of things, you know, when you link up, and then you kind of get, like, sucked into that, and then you got, like, a big, like, a fast money mentality that's, like, going around in the city. So, like, when you get caught up in all that, and then, you know, everybody start mixing and mingling with each other, they kind of get, like, comfortable with that. And see, like, and a lot of things that I noticed, like, with my friends just coming up throughout school periods was they didn't really get that exposure. So that, like, goes along with what y'all was talking about as well. Like, they didn't get exposed to, like, nothing outside of dating. They didn't get exposed to, like, newer people. They didn't get exposed to, like, that diversity of people. They didn't get exposed to, like, college. They didn't get exposed, and, like, in their family and their backgrounds, it wasn't really pushed upon them because it ain't been pushed on their parents. It ain't been pushed on their circle of people. I may have been, like, one of the only people who was telling them, nah, you know, bro, check this out. You saying it's not for you, but you don't even know that. Like, the only reason you saying that is because you, like, you in high school, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, I fell off in high school because it was like, I didn't feel like I was getting nothing from that. I ain't want to be there. So, like, literally, you know, my senior year, junior year too, like once I got done with my work, like sometime like during half the day, if I knew all my work was done, I left school. I just left and went home because if my work is done, what am I there for? You know, and like I didn't have to be at school to see my friends or to go link up with my school or link up with my friends after school. All I had to do was like literally, as soon as they get out, they hit me up, they let me know, give me the gist what went down at school, if anything like exciting happened, and then we literally about to go on about our business. And so like, and it's kind of sad because like, you know, or you see like some of your friends and stuff, and you know they got the potential. You know they really smart for real because you see what they do outside of school. But like leave it to them, they like, nah, bro, I ain't even, you know, I don't want to go to, or like let's say, you feel me, on the diversity aspect, they don't want to go around white people. They don't want to go around like Asians. They don't.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's like a whole like within that inner city community, it's like a stigma with white people. So you got like the stigma of acting white. People don't want to act white. And so like if you like around white people and stuff, they gon', or even if you talk proper, you know, you talking to like, I guess like a correct manner, like they gon' just automatically, oh bro, you talking like you white, bro, why you hanging around them? Like they gonna group you in that that category, and that's not like necessarily like.
You think that's the only reason? You don't think it's because of how we're viewed?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was getting to that, and now like that was another thing, like as well as like. All right, so like in the inner city community, like it's like a line. Like black people, they look at like how we look at white people is like you just don't want to be like, it's like they racist, you know, like we just like they like a lot of my friends, they automatically think like if they was to step foot here in UD, they gonna get like prejudiced against. Like people is like everybody is just gonna look at them all weird. They gonna feel like they don't fit in. They gonna feel like they like outcast in a way because like of who they are, because they're black. And because this is a PWI, because like if they heard the word community at UD, like they was like immediately think that was a lie.
Right.
Like not knowing, and they would not hang around y'all. They just flat out would not go around y'all. Like y'all could be as nice or as whatever, y'all could smile at them, but like literally, they gonna think like that's y'all. Just like it's like I don't know, it's like a fake white niceness that is kind of like, you know, that everybody like thinks that y'all have. Like it's just like, oh, they just being nice because that's just what they do. Like, but they don't really care about me. And so like, yeah, that's like most definitely like part of it. What was you gonna say?
And no, I was just gonna say something really quick because I understand where he's coming from about that, and I think that's why I hit home with exposure so much, is because I think that being someone who is from the black community, we are in a dangerous situation because of the way that we're viewed. And because we've been put in that situation and the way that we think, it's almost detrimental to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't think the whole world is out to get you, because then what do you have left? Different people from different places are a cool experience. You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable, and they're not all malicious, and they don't all have malintent. You know?
So being in a high school, like if we got a school from 6, you start there at this school at 6th grade, and you go all the way to 12th grade. How can we kind of reverse that mindset? Because that's a mindset.
Absolutely. 6th grade, like, and the thing is, like, I'm so ashamed because it's a problem we should not have, but early. You know what I'm saying? Like, the earlier you are, the more exposure you get. Be around different kinds of people because that shapes your experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like, do not, like, it's just bad because, like, if you get stuck in the same group of people, like, that is who you think of. You know, like, there's a quote, and it's very true. It says, like, the closest 5 people that you hang around, you are the sum of the closest 5 people that you keep around. You know what I'm saying? So if everyone in the group thinks that, you know, the whole world is out to get me, inevitably you are going to think the whole world is out to get me. You know what I'm saying? But if you surround yourself with different people, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna become a wholesome and more comprehensive person yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you have a more open mind to taking in new opportunities.
So when we talk about diversity and exposure, besides having a school that has diversity in it,
Right.
How can we expose? Like, what do you mean? Like, what can we do to expose you guys to different things?
So,
Our students.
I grew up in a community where we bussed in a lot of inner city Columbus kids. We're both from Columbus. but I lived in the suburbs, so we brought in kids to encourage diversity, and that did help. It was better than being at an all-white school, but I feel like there was a lot, especially once we got to like high school age, of even though you're in the same school, all of the like children of color would all be together, and there wasn't a whole lot of mixing. And I feel like part of that could have been like, you know, they're coming up into like our area, but we don't see where they live, what they go through. Like, you can hear about it, but them telling their story and like you actually seeing and understanding and experiencing their communities, like, because they would come to hang out with people in the area, their friends from school, but like nobody really went down there. And part of that could have been because, you know, for the most part in a like upper middle class predominantly white area, like, why would you want to hang out at your place if you don't have the financial means, the nicer house? Because I'm sure there were people that, like, at my school who felt ashamed of what they had because somebody else had nicer. So I feel like because of that, you know, there were a lot of us, myself included, who didn't get exposure the way that I would have liked to other people's lifestyles, and there wasn't a full understanding.
How do you do that though, without going?
Like exposure.
Like, so even if, say, you know, this is UD, and some UD students don't even go
Right.
nowhere but Brown Street.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, even if maybe as everybody who got a 3.0 or 4.0 or whatever, we could go to Sporty's, which is somewhere on the west side, right? But the question is, would the parents, do you think y'all parents would approve?
I mean, like, honestly, like, I went to school, like, right outside of Baltimore. And so, like, anytime we would even go, like, play another sports team that was, like, in the city, like, my mom would always be like, be careful what neighborhood you go in. Like, and, like, she's not wrong. There are some neighborhoods that are, like, unsafe. But it's also the point of, like, is it really an unsafe neighborhood, or is there just this stigma placed on it? So it does come from, like, also you have to change how we think about it. So, I mean, like, honestly, my mom probably wouldn't have wanted me to go, like, explore the city of Baltimore. Like, that's not, she wouldn't have been happy with that. She would have liked it more if I was with my school instead of just going by myself and doing it. But she really probably wouldn't want me, like, out there.
So what about, like, volunteer opportunities? Do you think that would help?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, like, what I did in high school was most of my summers, I volunteered at a camp for homeless children, which was at, like, a park in the city. So, like, I got to, like, talk to these kids and see, you know, their situations. A lot of them were in transitional housing or homeless shelters. So it was, like, a very different experience getting to see, like what privileges I have and, like, what I can do to help people who aren't as fortunate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know one thing that my mom does at her school. It's called Walnut Ridge in Columbus. You can look it up. Is that she started something, or a program. It's called the Men and Women of Excellence. And the way it works is like for those kids, you know, who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, but nobody is like, even though we live by the mentality of you shouldn't be awarded for doing what you're supposed to be doing, we fixate on people who do bad things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we almost give attention to those who do negative things, but we don't show that it's okay to do the right thing. But where I was going with that is that my mom has made this program, right, to show that kids, you know, who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, you know, can get some sort of reward. But the exposure that comes with it is that, you know, she'll take the kids to plays, or, like, you know, they'll do fundraising, the kids will go to plays, you know what I'm saying? She'll say, oh, hey, like, dress up, you know, we'll all go, like, business casual or business professional. That in itself, you know what I'm saying? You're getting exposed to a different setting, you know. You're not wearing the same casual clothes all the time, but you know what it's like to, you know, be in a more professional setting. And then you get to go, you know, and see something fancy or whatever, you know. I'm sure they do some volunteer opportunities as well, you know. I like the exposure with that because you get to go and plug in with a bunch of different people who don't look like you know, and working towards the same mission, whatever that may be, you know. So simple things like that.
Okay, so first of all, y'all want diversity. and then homework that's meaningful.
Right.
So what about your everyday life at school, besides academics?
Okay.
What type of school? I mean, what things did your high school do that made you want to go, and what? Because some kids just are not attached to high school, and if you're not attached to high school for whatever reason, that makes you want to skip whatever, which makes your grades go down, which makes you a quote unquote failure, even though you're not. So what type of things can a school provide that would make students feel more attached to their school?
I feel like a big thing is like teachers who actually care and
Yeah.
show the care.
Yeah.
Well, how would a teacher do that? I mean, how do you know a teacher cares?
Like when you can personally like go and talk to a teacher about like your issues that you're having in your life, and you know like they're gonna sit there and understand and have like not necessarily like a truly candid conversation, but like you're talking not like they're your teacher, but like kind of like they know you.
I know for me, when I was in elementary school, I lost a classmate of mine who was a really good friend, and that like right after it happened, I had teachers who like just came and were super supportive and like not like friends, but they broke their role as a teacher for a moment to step in and like saw like, okay, you're in need today.
Right.
We don't need to be your boss. We don't need to watch over you in that manner. Make sure you're doing all of your schoolwork. I feel like it's knowing when you need to like get on someone and when you need to step back, like understanding what people need when, and just being there.
Absolutely.
And I think like also just teachers who are invested in both their students and like what they're teaching, like they actually care about the students and their grades, and they also care like are passionate about what they're teaching them and like want them to actually know it. Like they're not just sitting there and clicking through a PowerPoint and grading their tests. Like they're actually like using different types of techniques each class to like get the things to stick with the students. Like I know I had this teacher in 8th grade, and he was like the most strict, he was the hardest teacher I ever had. But he truly cared about like the subject and everybody. Like, so he was very strict. Like he would not let you goof off or anything. But like also he was one of the best teachers I've ever had, because like I knew that he was doing it because he cared about the material, he cared about me, and he just wanted me to have like a good learning experience where things would like stick and I would continue to know them in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Going off of that, just like, man, I love my mom, but like she's one of those people. You know what I'm saying? Like her approach to teaching is like, you know, she'll set the tone very strict up front. You know what I'm saying? Let you know like these aren't the games to play around. You know what I'm saying? And that way the kids get a clear understanding from day one, like they're gonna be working, I'm gonna be working, this is an agreement. But what she does so well is that she shows that this is an agreement. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not your boss micromanaging you or being your supervisor. You know what I'm saying? Like if you need help, I'm gonna help you. But you gotta show me the effort. You know what I'm saying? Be able to meet the student where they're at, because you know, we don't know where they're gonna be at in life. So sometimes it doesn't call for all the yelling and all the authoritarian style of leadership. Sometimes kids just need a friend. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to understand where they're at in life and to really work with them. You know.
That at Dunbar, I feel like this happens that just in like DPS schools, like just in general. I feel like for kids to get that type of attention, you kind of gotta be like one of those kids who just kind of get attention in general. And if you're not one of those kids, like the teachers, like they wouldn't give you that. And it's as far as in like them actually teaching and like, you know, providing us the work. Like I said, I was getting 8th grade worksheets from freshman year to senior year. You know, like you could tell like it was some teachers who did care, and the ones who cared were the ones that like everybody was just kind of attracted to. And they were the ones who like you actually wanted to go to their class. You knew you could ask questions. You knew you was gonna get help. And like for the people who didn't even care about doing the work, they still wanted to be in class because they had like one of their favorite teachers in there. And then so like when it came time like to do work, since they already had that respect for the teacher, that teacher could actually get through to them. Right. And the ones who wanted to learn, you could actually learn in that class because everybody is like, all right, we here, like, you know, like I'm actually trying to listen to her. Now vice versa, You had other teachers who, like I had a personal experience my senior year. Had a teacher, she just decided like she was about to retire. And so like since she was about to retire, that was her last year, she's done. She was done, period. She was done our first day in.
Yeah.
And so like she literally told us like, all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write what y'all gotta do up on the board. Y'all make sure y'all pay attention to these directions. Y'all make sure y'all follow these directions, and then that's it. Don't ask me no questions. Don't speak to me because I'm acting like you're not here.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
In my junior year, my French teacher got fired halfway through the year. And so our new French teacher came in, and like pretty much as soon as she got hired, she got like her dream job. And so she came in and immediately was just like, you guys can do whatever you want. Like she didn't even teach us at that point. She was just like, we're just gonna sit in this class and talk. Like that's it.
We had teachers like that as well. We had teachers where they gave the kids too much freedom, and all they'll do is go in there, they'll watch movies,
Yeah.
and literally just clown. Like the class wasn't a class. Had a teacher my freshman year, like she was a sub, but was supposed to be learning physics. She got on the phone every class period, talked to her people. We played computer games.
Right.
Yeah.
Got an A+.
Exactly.
Like,
I think like sometimes teachers like make the mistake of thinking that the students will like them more if they give them a crazy amount of freedom and let them watch movies and let them do what they want. And while some students like, you know, it's nice to have an easy class, like everybody likes that, but in reality, the students, like the teachers that are loved best are not the teachers that just give you all kinds of leeway. And so I think like it's important for teachers not to have the mindset like, well, oh, I just want my students to like me, to like make things easy, so I'll let them do whatever they want. I think they need to be, you know, like have like what he was saying with that classroom style with his mom, like, you know, where you're a friend but you're also like strict and making sure they get the material. Because like in reality, those are like all the teachers that I think all of us can say like were our favorite.
Absolutely. And just like, it's okay to set high expectations. You know, I prefer high expectations, especially if you're able to break down to me why. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you say, Elijah, like, I expect you to get an A because I know that you can do it. I've seen it in you and I've seen the potential. You know what I'm saying? That motivates me a lot more to do the work in the classroom as opposed to just like, you know, giving me an easy A or not making anything hard. You know what I'm saying? Because when you make something challenging for the student, but you also help them, you know, to overcome that challenge, that student is going to be a lot more grateful for that classroom.
Okay, so now you guys are in college and you either were or weren't academically prepared, but as far as social life or personal life or life outside of the classroom, what can we do in high school to prepare students just for how to be social emotionally aware or how to prepare them for how to handle things that have nothing to do with academics?
The weirdest part for me about coming to college was being in a classroom with guys again, because I hadn't done that for 7 years. So definitely just like, again, it goes kind of back to like diversity, like exposing students to like what they're gonna see. And like a lot of the thing about like bullying in high school or middle school is like people like target kids who are different. So just kind of like trying to work on the stigma of like differences people have in life.
Yeah. And you were saying like methods of how. I know you said project-based learning. Honestly, I think like in just thinking about it and reflecting upon it, I feel like I would learn it best if I were to be put in a situation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to get that across,
say that again.
I said I would learn it best if I were to be put in this situation. You know what I'm saying? So if there is something that you wanted to get across to your students, make it a simulation. You know what I'm saying? Like make it the classroom lesson of the day without actually telling them, oh, hey class, this is what we're gonna learn. Let them go through the motions, and then after the motions have been gone through, you know, reflect on where we went wrong or, you know, how we can make this better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like going off of that, a lot of the things that I've learned that I value the most while being in college have been like from other people, talking to my friends, getting to know them and their experiences. Not that the stuff we've learned in the classroom has meant nothing, but there's a whole lot outside of the classroom that also matters. And I feel like when I was in high school, you know, you're told that college is going to be hard rigorously, but like they tell you like it's going to be different living on campus and stuff, but nobody really I guess talks about how important social aspects can be. Like they'll say like don't get in with the wrong crowd, you don't want to go down that road because it'll hurt your future academically with careers, but they don't talk about like what else you can get out of friendships and talking to people otherwise.
The positives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I know someone here who her freshman year she didn't have any friends. She was failing her classes, and it was just like one of the most rough times for her. And when she finally found that friend group, kind of like everything else fell into place too. Like it's really important to have that support in your life.
Right.
Yeah, and they don't really like iterate it in high school, but like just having you socializing, you going out, that's like one of the most important things that you kind of like I guess you could say like you get out of your school experience, because like even in high school, I guess it's like high school's a little different because it's like you got these different crowds. You got people who's trying to get in a certain in crowd, you got people who's trying to like, and like that's when you like really discovering yourself and finding yourself. And then at the end of the day, you still got all your teachers telling you like, okay, yeah, you hanging with your friends, but you need to focus on this schoolwork. Like it's the most important thing. And like most definitely is, but like that social aspect that they doing, like them socializing is also just as important. And like they always saying, like how I've learned the most out of college is just through my different friends and like through the socializing I've been doing, like, and that helps me immensely in my classes and like in school, because like even when I go through like personal things, like I know I got somebody to talk to. And then on top of that, now I know that the biggest thing that kind of everybody realizes when you get here in college, it don't matter who you are, like you can always find like friends, no matter who you are. So it doesn't matter if you came from like a nerdy background, you was popular, you were super different, strange. It really do not matter, because at the end of the day, when you get here in college, everybody like, okay. And like literally,
right. And like the thing is, like I think with my bad. I think the thing with learning in general, just like across the spectrum, is like as a teacher and as an educator, know the why. You know what I'm saying? Like don't just go through the curriculum telling me a bunch of facts. You know what I'm saying? If I ask you a question, know why it is that way. Because when you give me the why, I know why I want to or why I don't want to make that decision. Which means I can make something that I can make a decision based off of my own wants, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to just doing it because I was told to.
I definitely agree with that. I think I always learn best when I know why I'm doing it, and like make decisions like why. But going off of what I was saying, I think also just emphasizing the importance of like the asking for help is okay and it's perfectly normal and you definitely should do it. Because I know for me, like my school was huge and there was like so few, like the ratios of like people who could help you to students was like so drastically different that like even just academically, like still now today, like when I need help in a class, I feel very nervous about going to my professor or TA or anything like that, just because I'm not used to it. But not even just academically, like emphasizing that reaching out socially and asking for help socially, like, you know, many people today are dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and just knowing that like you have friends or resources at college that like are there for you, and it's perfectly okay to reach out to your friend or counselor or somebody to help you if you need it, and you don't need to go through it alone. Like asking for help is a great thing to do. Like it's not bad. Like you shouldn't feel bad about it at all.
So after school, did y'all have after school activities at your schools? Do you think that helped with attachment to school?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
I would like, even if I was like sick and I had like a sports game that day, I would be like, I want to go to school. Like I have to be there. I have to play. Like that always definitely motivated me to go, because like even if I didn't want to go to school, like even if it was just a practice, I was like, I can't miss this for my team.
Right.
So what about besides sports? like people who aren't into
Yeah,
sports.
like even for theater, like my sister did theater in high school, and that was like the most important thing to her ever. Like her show week, like no one was allowed to mess with her. She drank tea every day. She would not talk for days at a time just so her voice was okay. Like anything you find, as long as you're passionate about it, you're gonna want to show up for it.
Yeah, I know for me, running in high school, first of all, it was like a great way going into high school. I got to meet people ahead of time, like over the summer for conditioning. And then you've got a lot of like closer relationships because not only are you probably spending time together in school, class, lunch, whatever, you're seeing them during the week after school for practice in some of the worst ways to be together. Like running is horrible. So you're bonding through some of the worst things that you're experiencing. And then you see each other on the weekend and you're like pushing each other physically, mentally, emotionally. So like those kind of bonds, and I know that's the same no matter what you're invested in, like getting that group of people who gets you and you have like that common thing.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for programs. I just think the more involved you can get with school or school-related things, the better you're gonna do. You know, because you'll view school as something that you actually like.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything that you guys would like to add that I did not ask?
I am going to stress the importance of financial literacy.
For sure.
I am a big believer.
So explain what that is.
So financial literacy is basically, well, in my own terms,
Yes.
it is just being taught the things that help you with your monetary lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So like how to
you
handle
spend
money,
how
how
you
you
handle
save
your
money, how do you
yeah.
budget money. You know what I'm saying? What is credit? You know, what is debt?
Credit is a big thing. Like people need to
Yeah.
know about credit.
I
People need
think
to know about credit.
also maybe including, especially for the kids planning on going to college, stuff about applying for loans, because I know I didn't get a whole lot of financial education at my school, and then I did have my dad to help me, and he's an accountant, so that was nice, but I still had no idea what I was doing. And you know, for the majority of people going to college, you're gonna need to take out a loan. So, you know, understanding basic finance, but then also financing your future is important.
And shoot, school is from 6 to 12, so I mean, like, just knowing that in general is good knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. Like, all of this debt, you know, I don't, it's not fun, you know what I'm saying? So just showing kids how to curve this as fast as possible or how to deter it, you know what I'm saying, is huge, because college is an investment, but it's not an investment if you're paying the school back for 30 plus years when you graduate.
Yeah.
That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? So
I know.
So it's like just setting kids up for the future. If you can show them how to take it on before they even get here, like you'll be doing them a life of.
And what do you say to those who don't want to go to college?
I was just about to bring
When you tell kids that don't want to go to college, you say that is absolutely fine, and you show them all the other things that you can do.
yeah.
Because
Teach
there
them
is
how to pay taxes.
there is so
like,
much.
real,
Show them how
like,
to invest.
I have no idea how to pay taxes
You
right
can have
now.
like a trade program in your
Absolutely.
school.
Show
to
them
teach you
trades. Show them how to
Yeah,
start their own
it's
business.
plenty college, and that's what like I want them to know. Like college, yeah, you want to go to college, but at the same time, if you do not go to college, that is okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And like if you really feel like that it's not for you, like after you've been exposed, after you actually like gotten a taste of it,
Right.
that's cool, and like that should be respected, and you shouldn't feel like bad, you shouldn't feel ashamed, should nobody be judging them for that. But I will say, but don't let that be an excuse for you to not
Right.
do anything.
Right.
Don't let that be an
I
excuse for
feel
you to
like
just.
what I would say to somebody who doesn't want to go to college is I'd first ask why, because you know, if it's just I don't think I'm ready or like it's daunting, you know, you don't want to just accept somebody saying I don't want to go to college, but you also don't want to push too hard, because then you could go down the road of them thinking they're a failure and just not doing anything.
Right.
You want to let them know their options and let them know that whatever they want to do, they're supported and they can do it, and then let them go
Right.
from there.
And I am so tired about learning about calculus 2 and calculus 3. So I totally understand, like, if a child doesn't want to go to college, that's fine. But just have a plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that comes with exposure. Because the thing is, some of the most successful people either drop out of college or don't even go to college.
And there's a lot of successful
Yeah,
people.
and there's a lot of
Exactly.
successful people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they had a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, so figure out what it is that you want to do, because there's so much. Like, insurance agent, like, that's one of the best kept secrets to make a 6-figure income, and nobody knows about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get that in like 2 weeks. Just stuff like that is like, have a plan. You know, show them something so that they can develop a plan for their life.
Anybody want to add anything else?
I just want to say, like, honestly, I think you're off to a great start here. Like, clearly you care about these kids. You care about this school. Like, you left
Absolutely.
your other school just, like, for great reasons from what you've told us. So, like, I wish all the luck to you,
I think
honestly.
it says a
Yeah,
lot
she
that
was the
you're
reason
spending
why.
the time talking to multiple different levels. Like, we're all out of high school. You could just, not care, because if you're educating up to high school level, that's your job, and you should care about past high school, but not that many people do. So
Absolutely. And I would just say, like, for your community, just like make it a community. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah.
a lot of the times where schools go wrong is like we all want to live this like this lifestyle where we're by ourselves. But like
Compartmentalized.
right, compartmentally,
Yeah.
just make it a community. You know what I'm saying? Make your teachers want to come to the school and educate.
How do we do that?
That is a good question. but really, it's like I'm a big believer in showing appreciation, and I think it really does go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Even if it means just, hey, I bought these coffees for you guys in the morning. Here, have them. You know what I'm saying? Just small things like that, so that teachers know that they're appreciated and they're valued, because that transfers over into students, and that community is what drives your students off into bigger and better places. So.
and maybe also, like, I would think letting their passion shine.
Yeah.
Because my favorite and the most successful teachers I had were passionate about what they did, and then on the other hand, the ones who were least passionate were those who, gone in teaching one subject and then because of budget cuts were shoved to do something else,
Right.
and they didn't care.
Right. And the reality is teachers don't make that much money. So the
Yeah.
passion is huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to play to people's strengths and people's weaknesses, because they got to be passionate about what they do in order to get anywhere with the students.